Alright, two things before we start the video. Actually, three things. Mike is changed a little bit. Still working on it. It might sound different. I don't know. Second thing, this is probably going to be more of a rushed video as I have to leave here within the next 15 minutes. So it's going to be probably about a 7-minute video. And third thing is one of my ears is stuffed with wax, or it's built up with water or something that's got in there, and I can't get it out, so I can't hear 80% out of one of my ears. So if I'm yelling or I'm too quiet, sometimes that's another reason why. So we're gonna do everything like we should do for the preview in this video. Go over the injury report, go over the roster moves from this past week, and go over the elevations from this game that got announced a couple hours ago. Starting off with the injury report. It's a pretty good injury report for the most part. Actually, in my opinion, better than last week. Trevor Nowatzki, elbow is out. He did practice all week, so he's probably just going to be out one more week and then should return next week. Sione Vaki, doubtful hamstring, which most likely means he will be out as well. When a player says doubtful, they rarely ever play. Again, he practiced all week as well. Probably just going to sit him out one more week, and then both of those guys, Nowatzki and Vaki, will be back next week, so that's good there. Special teams, again, takes a hit this week, but hopefully these guys should be back for next week and help on special teams. Taylor Decker, shoulder questionable. He sounds like he's most likely going to play. He did not practice all week, but it sounds like he is most likely going to play, as the Detroit Lions did not make a roster move that would lead to him potentially not playing. But since they did not make that roster move, it sounds like he will be playing. And Kirby Joseph, knee questionable. He practiced all week. I don't know if I think he was limited the final day, so he popped up with an injury or something like that on the final day of practice. He's questionable. So that's 50-50. Usually questionable leans more towards you're going to play. But Kirby Joseph, the fact that he's questionable and the fact that he popped up late in the week on the injury report leads me to think that it's a 50-50 shot that he plays or doesn't. And the Lions did not, spoiler here, they did not elevate a safety. So you're like, well, we didn't elevate a safety, so you think Kirby Joseph play. Well, we also do have 5 safeties. We have an extra safety on the 53-man roster from what most teams usually carry in 5, because you have Daniel Thomas and Thomas Harper, along with Matt Maddox as our backups. So Thomas Harper was healthy and active last week, so he would most likely play then in this case scenario if Kirby Joseph wasn't able to go. So I don't 100% believe that. So overall, Kirby Joseph, I'd say there's 50-50 shot he plays. Most likely he will, because he's questionable, but it's 50-50. Sione Vaki, doubtful, most likely means he'll be out, and Nowatzki is out. Takes a hit special teams there, like I said again, but defensive side of the ball, they don't really make huge impacts at all, and Vaki doesn't make an impact on the offensive side of the ball, as there's no need to. Those guys are depth players. So moving on to the roster moves. Let's just start with the elevation, then we'll go to the roster moves from this past week. And the Lions only made one elevation this week, and they have elevated linebacker Monty Rice from the practice squad to the active and inactive list. And you're like, who is this guy? Yeah, I haven't talked about him yet, so we're going to talk about him right now. The Lions have elevated him as they have released, I believe this happened Tuesday after our game, they decided to release linebacker Anthony Pittman from the practice squad. They also signed tackle Devin Contran and, again, linebacker Monty Rice. We'll talk about Contran and Monty Rice here in a minute. Now, Anthony Pittman being released, I'm shocked. I'm assuming he had an abysmal performance against the Packers on special teams, because why would you release a guy who's been in the organization for years upon years, who has done a good job on special teams and can fill in on defense as a depth piece if ever needed to. So I'm assuming he had abysmal performance on special teams this past week, because otherwise this doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. They could have just done something where they release him and put him back on the practice squad once he clears waivers. That way they could get 3 elevations out of him again. He wouldn't actually have to clear waivers, I don't think, since he's a veteran. I could be wrong about that. I'm going to have to dig into that. But I was thinking, well, maybe that's the reason why, just so they can get extra elevation out of him. But no, because they ended up replacing him with Monty Rice. So, Anthony Pittman, I appreciate what you did for us, but that is very surprising to me that they moved on from him. And we'll talk about Contran and Rice here. Now, it's hard for me to talk about tackles because, I don't know who this guy is. I'll just say that. I did know who Monty Rice was when we signed him, but I did not know who Contran was. Contran was, college he played in Georgia Tech, 6'7", 306, so he's huge in terms of height, but he's undersized when it comes to weight for a tackle, being only 306. He had a 5.65 prospect grade, candidate for bottom of roster practice squad, which is what he's been his whole entire career. He was a projected round 7 to priority undrafted free agent pickup in 2022, I want to say is when he came out. So he's fairly new in the NFL. He's 27 years old. This guy, I thought, had a chance to play this week, actually potentially even be the Lions starting tackle this week if Decker was going to be ruled out and if they did not trust Giovanni Manu. But it did sound like that the Lions were going to have Giovanni Manu start at tackle if Taylor Decker could not go this week. Or there's still a chance he cannot go, but it sounds like Decker should be fine. But if Decker was to be out, it sounds like Giovanni Manu would be the starting tackle, not Cochran or Mason Miller, the only other tackle on the practice squad. So they not elevate Miller or Cochran, which means the Lions would only have they would have no backups if Taylor Decker was ruled out. I'll just put it that way. They would have no backup tackles if Taylor Decker was ruled out this game, as Manning would then start. So they would have no backup tackles, so that pretty much confirms that Decker's playing, in my opinion. So Cochran here, this could be a guy who's just on the practice squad for now, and once Dan Skipper gets healthy, Dan Skipper's another tackle on the practice squad, but he did not practice again at all this week dealing with an injury. So once Dan Skipper gets healthy again, and hopefully Taylor Decker fully 100% healthy again here soon, Cochran could only be on the practice squad for a couple of weeks, and he could be released. He might just be a fill-in right now for Dan Skipper's injury while he's on the practice squad, and with Decker dealing with whatever injury he's dealing with right now, which seems to me that he will be fine. Decker said he wants to play in this game. John Morton says he fully expects him to play, even though he did not practice all week. So again, this guy could very well only be on the practice squad a couple of weeks. We will see. And when it comes to Monty Rice is a former third-round pick in 2021. Decently sized linebacker, 6'2", 233, one of our biggest linebackers on the roster when it comes to height and weight. 26 years old, from Georgia. 2021 third-round pick, 92nd overall from Tennessee. The guy has no stats primarily. He has been a special team guy most of his career. Played a decent amount in 2022 on the defensive side of the ball, and maybe a little bit in 2021, it looks like, as well. Looks like he's played a little bit defense in his NFL career, especially in 2022, but primarily it's been practice squad. Now, again, the guy's a former third-round pick. In 2021, he played 10 total games, 36 total tackles, so he did miss. So he actually did have, it looks like here, a pretty big role in 2021. Maybe there's like a number 3 linebackers. He did miss 7 games, and he had 36 tackles. 1 pass deflected. 2022, he played 13 total games, so missed 4, 66 total tackles, and 1 pass deflected. So he looks like he did have a major role. I'm going to have to dig into that a little bit more. I haven't watched any of this guy's film, just because, again, I don't expect these guys to primarily. Monty Rice, I will definitely take a look at since he's a former third-round pick, and he's had a pretty big role in his career when it comes to special teams, so take a look at him. Cochran, I don't know as much. I don't even know if Cochran played a game in his NFL career yet. I think he has as a backup tackle, but I don't know. But I will take a look at these guys' film. I have not done yet. So, 2023 missed 5 games, 26 total tackles. And 2024, he played for the Patriots, where he played 3 games and had 1 total tackle. So, Monty Rice and Devin Cochran, welcome to Detroit. And when it comes to Monty Rice, I do like this signing. I really, really do. Veteran, somewhat of a veteran linebacker heading into his 5th season here now. From Georgia, Lions love the Georgia Bulldogs this season. Former third-round pick, this guy has potential. Now, I believe this guy, we'll take a look at this guy's draft profile here coming out as well. I think he was drafted before he was actually projected to get drafted, but let me take a look here because I don't think I've actually looked where he was projected to be drafted. I think it was 4th rounder is what he's projected, but I could be wrong. He did not have. I think you guys can hear that. I did not. Okay, I'm gonna get copyrighted here, so close that. I do not think Monty Rice had a draft projection there. I did not see anything. But Monty Rice, Definitely going to take a look at these guys' film. So leave your thoughts in the comments down below. This is a must-win game for the Detroit Lions this week. It is a must-win game. Their offense, their defense has to get rolling this game, specifically the offense. It cannot be like last week. If it is like last week, it's going to be a problem. This game is going to be a struggle. We do not want Ben Johnson. We do not want him getting his first win in the NFL against his former team in the Detroit Lions at Ford Field. So we do not want that to happen. On the defensive side of the ball, the key to this game is to get pressure. If we cannot get pressure, we're going to struggle. Same on the offensive side of the ball. If our offensive line cannot hold up, we're going to have a struggle to win this game. It's going to come down to, in my opinion, specifically the offensive line and getting pressure and sacks on the quarterback this game. Those are the top two keys to winning this game, in my opinion. The offensive line has to do a better job. Ratledge, Glasgow, Mahogany, specifically in the interior, have to do a better job in the offensive line and pass blocking and run blocking. On the defensive line, Marcus Davenport, if he can play his second full consecutive healthy game, which he didn't even do that with the Lions last season, if you keep in mind. He didn't play in week 2 last year. It was dealing with an injury. And he didn't play all week. Or I guess he technically did, but he was ruled out with the season-ending injury after that. So he's only got 1.5 more games to go to play more games than he did last year for Marcus Davenport. So we'll see if he can stay healthy. But he has to get pressure on the quarterback. If he cannot get pressure on the quarterback, which he could not last week, then we're going to have a struggle to win this game. Because Hutchinson's still coming back from that injury. Played okay last week. I believe he had 3 pressures. Really didn't even play that great. I don't even know if I want to say he played okay. He looked good on 1 snap from what I saw. That's about it. And I watched the film multiple times. So we just got to get pressure on the quarterback. Those are the keys to winning this game. Secondary, specifically Tyrion Arnold, hopefully can take a step forward. And last game was just, I don't even know what the right word is for that. Hopefully that last game was a fluke and that he is actually really progressed and developed this offseason from last season, like the coaching staff has been telling us. On the offensive side of the ball, hopefully we can get J-Mo and Gibbs running. If we can get those 2 guys going, then I think we should be able to win this game when it comes to the offensive side of the ball and getting everything else to hopefully somewhat click. If we can get J-Mo and Gibbs just 50% clicking, rolling, then I think we should be able to win this game. So this is a big game, must win for the Detroit Lions, because if the Detroit Lions lose this game, they will be 0-3 in my opinion to start the season. There's no way we beat Baltimore next week. There is no way. The only way I think we have a chance against Baltimore next week, is if we on Monday Night Football, is if we absolutely beat out and destroy the Chicago Bears this week, kind of what we did the Jags or Titans or Dallas last year. That's the type of performance we'd have to throw up this week for me to even feel confident against Baltimore. And teams that start the year out 0-3, I think have less than 2% shots to make the playoffs. And in week 4, we probably would get a bounce back as we do face the Browns. But you never know. Joe Flacco, the 45-year-old senior citizen, could be able to come in and beat us. So, in my opinion, this is a must-win game. The Detroit Lions will start 0-3 on the season if they lose this game, which then leads to a less than 2% shot of them making the playoffs. Don't quote me on that. I think that's what it is. But that's just almost impossible. So the Lions, this is a must-win game, and just wait for my reaction if we cannot get anything rolling in this game at all, specifically on the defensive line, getting pressure and sacks. Just wait. One Pride, go Lions. This is going to be a tough game, gritty game, down to the wire, in my opinion. I don't even want to say if we win or not. I really don't. I think we will get things rolling to a standard where we will win. I'm not giving a score prediction. Obviously, I don't do that. But it's going to be a very close game. I would not be surprised if we only win this game by a point or by a field goal. I do think we win this game, but it's going to be one of those 2. It's going to be a very, very close game, and we're still going to have a lot of things that need to get corrected. So, One Pride, go Lions. Leave thoughts in the comments down below. Do you like these roster moves? What do you think of the injury report? And do you think the keys to the game for you are for the Detroit Lions to win? So, One Pride, go Lions. I don't know if that made sense there at the end there. Hopefully it did.